flight from Portland to Seattle 36 years ago, and it is still the only unsolved skyjacking in the world.
Lots of theories, but J. Edgar Hoover's FBI agents couldn't solve it. Now, 2 local amateur detectives think they know who did it. He's still living right here in Oregon. And KOIN News 6 reporter Mike Donahue checks out their suspect.
Could this be the mysterious hijacker who jumped from a Boeing 727 on Thanksgiving Eve with $200,000 in ransom money?
The things that he told the FBI.
Dan Dvorak and Matt Myers are 99% sure they found the passenger in black who boarded the Northwest Orient flight in Portland with what he said was a bomb.
We've pretty much investigated his life from the day he was born.
Before that night in 1971, no one had ever attempted to jump out of a jet airliner.
This Discovery Channel program 3 years ago about the hijacking piqued their interest in the case and motivated them to learn more about the crime and potential suspects, including one the FBI seemed to ignore.
At least a half a dozen people called in this guy's name and said, check him out. And they said, nope.
And this guy lived within walking distance of the airport.
That would explain how this ghost, who called himself Dan Cooper, suddenly materialized at the airport that afternoon. No bus or cab driver remembers him, and he left no car in the parking lot. But their person of interest could have walked.
We kept on hearing this one individual's name. It kept on popping up, and we just wanted to find out why, was he excluded and why. And
excluded by Ralph Himmelsbach, FBI agent in charge of the Portland investigation.
He would have been a very logical suspect.
Except for that phone call Himmelsbach received the night of the hijacking, approximately 90 minutes after Dan Cooper jumped. The voice on the phone identified himself as Ted Mayfield.
I just have to feel that I'm his alibi.
Because he called you.
Yeah.
To jump out of an airliner flying over wilderness in a storm would take guts. Dan Cooper needed to be fearless. Ted Mayfield, the man our amateur detectives believe is Dan Cooper, is fearless. This ultralight weighs about 15 pounds more than he does. Have you ever crashed one of these things?
Yeah, I have.
But you walked away.
I walked away. It's well built.
He learned about parachutes in the military, jumping with the Special Forces. For years, he taught skydiving at his jump school in Sheridan. Ted Mayfield is a Northwest champion parachutist. And do you have any idea how many times you've jumped?
Yeah, 8,642.
He came up as nominated as a suspect so many times that, and he did have a criminal record.
Are you going to plead innocent to this?
You bet I am.
A dozen years ago, convicted in the deaths of 2 of his students, Mayfield agreed to close his Pacific Parachute Center at Sheridan and never teach again. His criminal record also includes convictions for armed robbery and transportation of a stolen airplane across state lines. Ted Mayfield has Dan Cooper's skills, but does he fit the physical description? And what about that phone call the night of the hijacking? Is it his alibi? The mystery continues tomorrow. Mike Donahue, KOIN News 6.